Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are watching Off the Track, and it is time to drop the hammer.
147. So that's where you ran in the Chili Bowl pool?
Yes.
That's actually not too bad.
That's not too bad. You got 2 in the money, right?
Yeah, 2 in the money. I think that's a good way to kind of start today's episode. We're going to be talking about the Chili Bowl, recapping, giving our thoughts, and so much about just everything that took place in Tulsa, even though we were not in Tulsa. So welcome back to Off the Track, episode number 28. I'm your host, Tanner Holmes, and
Gooch.
Bennett here to my left. You can't see because we're only audio, but Bennett is right next to me. And like I said in today's podcast, we want to talk about the Chili Bowl because in my opinion, you know, it's such a big event. It's one of the largest in motorsports. Even though we both never experienced it, I think it's just crazy. Like, I mean, how else do you describe it? I mean, even though we've never been a part of it, it's so big that I can feel how and see the craziness and like everything. It's hard. It almost leaves you speechless.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I might get, flack for this one, but I'm going to go ahead and say this is the largest dirt race of the year. Out of all dirt racing.
Bigger than Knoxville.
Bigger than Knoxville. And I think close seconds, Knoxville Nationals, and third is Kings Royal. But you also got to throw in the World 100.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
so many forms. There's so many forms that you got to throw in. But I think if anyone tops them all, because here's why I'm going to back it up. It's Chili Bowl because look at all the forms of racing that go to race one thing, a midget in the Tulsa Expo Center.
I mean,
look at all these drivers from all forms of racing, even NASCAR. Look at that.
I didn't realize how many NASCAR drivers were in the field until so we had Ricky Stenhouse.
So wait, are you talking about starting field or race night?
No. I just meant that attempted to race.
Right.
Just attempted to race. And I'm talking in NASCAR in the top form. We had, so we had Ricky Stenhouse.
This is Cup Series only.
Ricky Stenhouse, Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson.
Chase Elliott.
There's another one.
Ryan Newman.
I feel like there might have been
Chase
6.
Chase
Briscoe. So that was
Christopher Bell.
Oh, and Christopher Bell. Yeah.
And
so
JJ Yaley, but JJ's not running.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is look at all those Cup drivers. Then you throw in Hocevar.
There was Hocevar. No, there's another person from
I know Ben Rhodes was there, and he's talking about running next year.
Yeah.
But he didn't race.
And in previous years, like Justin Allgaier, there's quite a few others that have, given it their shot, and I feel like more guys are going to. I think
next up, we all know who we're looking for.
Who?
Kyle Busch.
Yeah, Kyle Busch. Yeah, I kind of feel like it's almost becoming like the
Kyle Larson is, dirt's always been, so I say badass. Kyle Larson's putting it on the map. And here's why I say this, because when I was down at Placerville for the Hangtown 100, anyone doesn't know that, it's a 100-lap Chili Bowl or 100-lap midget race at Placerville. And there's a good amount of people, like as pack stands, and the people around me in the stands never been to a dirt race. They're like asking me all these questions. I'm like, well, like, are you just local? No, we're huge Kyle Larson fans. And I was like, that's sick. Like, Kyle Larson is crossing the sport. And one thing I want to mention with that, I don't think NASCAR's ever posted the Chili Bowl winner before. Maybe they have, but they posted Tanner Thorson. And Tanner Thorson ran a truck for Nice Motorsports a couple times.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool. Kyle Larson is crossing the two fan bases.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
He's done a lot for motorsports in general. When you really look at it and take a step back, like, I know he's been through a lot. But man, what he's done is incredible, and his talent and everything, and he's kind of, I think, making some of these NASCAR drivers realize, like, hey, and
this is where it's coming from.
I think it could really be beneficial. Like Chase Elliott, a prime example out of all of them. Never really ran any dirt stuff, and obviously has struggled. But I mean, what did anyone expect? I mean, I think I would say he's actually done better than I thought. And I was gonna say
this. I don't. Before we get yelled at or some comments, I don't want to leave out. There are other past NASCAR drivers such as Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, who came from the dirt ranks, and they are advocates for dirt. So I'm not saying Kyle Larson did all of this, but I am saying currently Kyle Larson. How many times has he been interviewed after a NASCAR race or during a NASCAR weekend? Said this race is cool, but I'd rather win Chili Bowl. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And that's coming from a Cup Series champion. So I agree. I think a lot of guys are turning to dirt. I know a lot of other NASCAR guys that run dirt, not Chili Bowl quite yet, but it's definitely something that I think is going to be even bigger next year.
Yeah, and I think, the drivers are just, they want to become better, and they're realizing that, hey, maybe this might be something that could be valuable. And, not to also make some of those asphalt guys that are doing it look bad. Like we've been saying, it's no surprise that Chase Elliott is struggling or some of these other guys are struggling. It's just a whole new form of racing. It's no different than I think if you took some of the top dirt racers, they would probably struggle on asphalt, And even though it's completely different, I think there's a learning curve there. So it's just part of the game. But more importantly, it's bringing more eyes to it. Yeah. And that combined with already the late model guys, the modified drivers, the non-wing sprints, the midget regulars, the wing sprint car guys that come to Chili Bowl, and then you mix in, many other forms of racing and guys that, Connor Daly, a good, he runs, I think, IndyCar. Maybe you don't even know, but some of the guys that try to do, even the other asphalt stuff that are, giving it a shot to, maybe just say they've done it or get the Chili Bowl experience.
Look at all the wing guys that come in that primarily run wing all year. Corey Larson, Donnie Schatz comes and runs, gets his butt whooped. I'm sorry about it, but he does. All these non-wing and midget guys are just so fast, but it's so cool to see this. This is, in my opinion, the largest dirt race of the year with the most eyes on it. And there's
all in one building.
And now that I'm thinking about it, there's so many topics that we got to talk about on this episode, and I don't want to, go rambling on, but I think this is gonna be a good episode. There's actually a big can of worms to open here.
The first one we got to talk about, and if for anybody that knows Chili Bowl, knows how big the Chili Bowl pool is.
Yes.
And I felt like I knew about the whole pool thing, and for people that haven't heard of it, it's pretty much where you can use the word bet in a fun way.
Right.
You're betting. I mean,
it's legal.
Yeah, you can. You're betting on drivers to see who will run the best, and it's run by a guy named Lonnie Wheatley. He's been doing it for, I think, since 2008, specifically for the Chili Bowl, and now it's grown into something that he does for many different races. But Chili Bowl is probably the biggest, I would say, or the biggest payday. So basically, it's grown every single year, and how it works is you have 7 groups. Well, hang on. You have your first pick on your sheet is your platinum group. So that is
top 3 drivers with the best odds to win.
Yeah. So what they classify.
Quick thing I want to say: Lonnie doesn't do the odds in the groups. He doesn't do that portion. Yeah. They mentioned it on the Flow broadcast. I don't know what his name is, but he doesn't do that part. He just runs the pool.
Yeah, he does that, and then so there's like the platinum group, which this year was Kyle Larson, Buddy, Christopher Bell, and Justin Grant.
Oh, was it Grant?
Yeah, that was the top 3. And then each preliminary night, you get 7 picks, which is groups 1 through 7. Group 1's obviously being the guys with the best chance of winning. And then, group 7 being, some of the no names or guys and not as in good equipment, maybe, where you really have to do your research. So in order to win the pools, you kind of have to have the best, you got to have good picks. But if you pick a guy in, like, let's say on Monday night in group 1, if you pick the guy that runs second and the other guy in the group wins, you don't lose much. But where you make up a lot of points is in those lower groups where guys you're taking risks on. So to not ramble too much on about how the pool works, whatever. So you have Monday through Friday, and then also there's an at-large group. So which is where there's about 25 maybe plus drivers, and you only get 1 pick, and there's 2 of those groups. Yeah. So that is how you fill out your whole pool. So this is where it gets good. So I did it for the first time 2 or 3 years ago, and I actually ran all right. At one point, I was almost in the money. I think back then it was like top 36 or top 40 for the money, and I got all the way up to 40th by the end of the week almost, and then I had one disastrous night on Friday. But I started the week in like 500, and I worked my way up, and right from there I was hooked. I was like, all right, these pools are fun. It makes it a lot more fun to follow along. Last year, I decided, you know what, I'm not going to spend just $40 because that's how much one entry costs. I'm going to spend $120 or $160. I did 3 or 4 pools to up my odds.
Right.
Still did disasters, like bad. Like I wasn't even close all week. I had horrible picks. And so and I think last year was your first year, right?
Last year was my first year. I think I was top 200 probably. I know for a bit there I was up in 500 land, But last year, I'll be honest with you, it was a huge gamble. I knew Group 1, Group 2, little Group 3, everything else was a complete. I never looked up no names. I just said, that's a cool name. Let's go for it.
Yeah, no, and meanwhile, I'm the opposite. So like pretty much besides the first year I did it, starting last year, we were doing heavy research and I was doing it with some friends. And
I did this year. Just to point out, I did this year.
Yeah. So like, since we were spending some money, I'm like, you know what? Like I want to have a shot at running good. So let's do a couple pools, spend hours researching guys. I still made horrible picks. Like I said, I was junk and I don't even know where I ended up with any of those 4. None of them were good. And so last year, a friend of mine named Ricky, he's who I did a lot of the pools with, and he had very similar picks to me. So all of ours did junk. So even though I did 4, he did 4 as well. We did a couple together. So like we had like maybe 9 or 10 shots last year. Horrible in all of them. So this year you're like, you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to put our money where our mouth is. We want a shot at winning this pool. So what we're going to do, since they're $40 a piece, let's do 12 pools together. We'll go half in on all of them, so we're not spending as much. So in total, it ended up being $240 a piece, and we had 12 shots at winning the Chili Bowl pool. We put all of our picks on a spreadsheet.
Easily would pay you back.
Easily, yeah. In a way, it's actually smart, but you do have to run good. You have to hope that one of those 12 is good. So we spent probably 5 hours just filling out these pools. It takes time because, it's all about combination.
There's
at that
so many
point,
names too.
After you fill out the first one, it's all about switching guys in the right spots and just hoping that one of them lines up Monday through Friday to be, dang near perfect pool. Yeah. And that's how I figured we would win. And I will say it actually paid off. We ended up running 32nd and 36th in the pool with some of our funny names that we kind of tried to come up with, all of them, inspired by our good friend Nick Petruzzi, who loves being a part of that as well. So that's the names you're going to see. I think our main guy is, which we've been using for the last couple of years, is Pick Petruzzi. Yeah. Because Nick loves to be a part of it. And then I think our 36th one's name was Nick's Roadside, because that's their business that sponsors a driver down there. So awesome to have those guys involved. But anyway, those were the 2 we had in the money. We had one that also ran in the top 150, so we were close. So we had 3 or 4 that were, I think, overall ended up in the top 200.
Out of 12?
Yeah. So you're throwing we threw 8 of them away, and we had a couple that were 800 or 900, so not even close all week. Yeah. Do I regret how we did it? Because we ended up, I think we spent total $480 and we won $450. So we both lost $15.
That's not bad.
No, not bad. It makes it a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
But I will say next year I think we're gonna pull a little bit of a different strategy. I think we're gonna do 12 again. Maybe a couple more, but we're going to try to not get away from our combination, because the first pool we filled out did the best. Yeah. So I think one thing I will say, that's not always going to be like that, but try not to switch it as much with some of our other ones, because it made them so disaster that the likelihood of the guys we ended up picking probably wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I filled out a pool last year, like I said, completely random about. This year I put some more time into it. I researched all my group 7s and 6s just so I had, I knew everyone else in the other groups, but 6s and 7s, I had to do some research. I started, I think, the week in 400 something, and then by the end of Saturday, I was 147. So just a little shy there, better than last year. And, I think what hurt me there is you can't bet against young money. And this is something I want to talk about real quick here. The pool makes you bet almost against your favorite drivers. And when I say that, is
hard to do.
It's no secret. Corey License, like one of my favorite wing drivers. I won't pick him in a Chili Bowl pool. Yeah. No chance. I'm sorry about it, but
and they classify him in a really hard group.
Right. They put him in a hard group. You look at Donnie Schatz. So many people are like, well, look at Donnie. Look, he's so accomplished. Yeah. I'm not going to pick Donnie Schatz in a Chili Bowl pool. I'm sorry about it. You're going to pick your fast guys that run, obviously, the USAC schedule about. I mean, the majority of your pool is going to be at least, or I hope, if you're going to try to get in the money, those guys. And then, like you said, the oddballs down low, it's kind of fun. Some guys you bet on, it's even a gamble if they'll show up that night. Yeah. So that's pretty funny to look at, too. And something to mention, too, is the pool's just a big game. So all the names are hilarious. Last year, mine was Factory SBR.
Yeah.
This year it was just Bennett Gooch, because I was done looking through the names, trying to find factory SBR when it wasn't very common to me. But I think next year I'm going to maybe do 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I have to. I mean, I want to get in the money. I know our friend Michael got second
Yeah,
place.
he ran second. That paid $3,500.
How many pools did he do?
He only did one. That's
how it works.
That makes us look, that makes us look dumb. But and all it takes is, like I was looking back to
Just
our one that ran good. If we would have changed one pick, and I love the guy, so I mean I get it. Everyone has rough days racing, but we picked Kyle Cummins on Friday.
I
in
picked
Group
Cummins
1.
too.
And Kyle Cummins, because man, he was a gasser the year before, had a really good night.
Horrible night.
Things didn't click, and he just didn't have a good chili bowl, which can happen. If we would have picked Ricky Stenhouse instead of him, we probably would have went from 32nd. I think the amount of points we would have got would have put us like right there behind second.
I think I would have been in the payout.
You would have definitely been in the payout. I mean, it would have been an extra like 200 plus points, which is huge. So the Chili Bowl pool's a lot of fun. If you don't do it, you definitely need to get involved.
I was going to say a couple more mentions. I got killed on Monday night when Moles was leading in reg.
Oh, yeah.
I had Moles, and he was doing phenomenal. I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is going to be some serious points here. Because, I mean, Moles is good. I don't know how many people would pick him in the pool,
Yeah.
But I was like, this is awesome. And then leading just flips.
Yeah.
I mean, gets up
Very
on the,
easy to
gets
do.
up on
Get
the
really
curb,
tight on a huge ledge.
That sucks, but
and for me, I'm the opposite. Since we did so many, pretty much when something like that happens, whatever ones we had moles in, you just exit those out for the night. But then so it's a lot different than when you're obviously only relying on one.
This is the way I also look at it. Is like you have seven chances to be locked into a prelim feature each night.
Yeah.
If you're not 4 out of the 7 each night minimum, you're not gonna run well. I was 4 out of 7 every night, and actually my highest was 6.
Yeah.
I had 6 lock-ins. I think
one night we had 7.
My Tuesday. What night did Buddy run?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. My Tuesday night was the best. That's when I had a lot of lock-ins there, and it's a lot of fun. And I took some chances, like Taylor Reimer.
She ended up running pretty good.
She did do pretty good in her prelim. She's fast. She's really fast. I think that was her first Chili Bowl, or maybe
It might have been first or second. Yeah,
something like that. Took some chances on her. Kaylee Bryson
first
did
female.
very well.
Yeah, first female to make a
Got
Chili
her.
Bowl.
I mean, that's KKM camp right there. Speaking of KKM, absolute dominance.
What a week! Yeah, I mean, those guys are so good in the Expo Center, and I think not people being worried, but definitely when they're bringing as many cars as they are, it's very easy, I think, for people to be like, wonder how they're going to do. Because, sometimes the bigger you get, not always the better. But I think they rose to the occasion. And, one thing we were going to kind of mention, who ended up winning those prelim nights. Tanner Carrick, KKM obviously won the first 4, but Kart Kids.
I mean, hold on. Quick mention there. Tanner Carrick. Isn't it crazy to think, like, a couple years ago, me, you, Tanner, and Kyle Woodcock were battling for a championship.
Yeah, like just a local Red Bluff
Red Bluff
championship.
250 championship. I end up running 3rd. I think you were 4th.
I was 4th, yeah.
Woodcock 2nd. And, Tanner gets 1st championship, and now he's out here winning a preliminary feature, and that's pretty cool. And I think it's a good way to talk about all the outlaw carts outlaw kart racers representing at the Chili Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, Buddy won the next night. Rico, who's obviously dominated Wednesday. The one micro guy, Seabell, winning Thursday.
Yep.
And then Justin Grant, who I think I looked it up. I think he won the 2005 West Coast Nationals at the open class at Red Bluff. Yeah. No, he definitely did. It was either 2005 or 2006.
Hold on. I need to bring this up so you can keep talking, but Elijah Jones put out a phenomenal stat.
Yes.
Do you have it?
I'll
pull it up.
Oh, yeah. Go look for that.
Okay.
But yeah, the Kart Kids, man, just absolutely rising to the occasion. And to kind of touch on maybe why we think that is. Oh, do you have it?
Yeah, here we are. So this is Cyclone and Red Bluff combined. Kyle Larson, Tanner Thorson, Michael Kofoid, Tanner Carrick, Rico Abreu, and Justin Grant, who were all, winners at the Chili Bowl, except Larson ran 2nd.
But
his prelim night.
Front runners,
I should say. They have a total of 272 feature wins combined in 20 championships.
Oh my gosh.
And that's all lock-ins of Saturday night's feature. Yeah. And literally, let's see, 1, 2,
and there was more lock-ins that ended up getting through the B's.
Yeah, 3 winners. Did Grant win his preliminary?
Yeah, he won Friday.
So 4 out of the let's see here. 6, Larson, obviously, it would be between Kofoid and Larson. That's just how it falls. But 4 out of the 6 there ended up, winning. That's crazy. Those are all from Outlaw Karts that cut their teeth at Cycling and Red Bluff.
Yeah, I think it goes to show a little bit of a both. One, the competition levels we have out here. Mm-hmm. I think people that have never been a part of Cycling or Red Bluff, and even, you know what, I think we can start to throw in a couple of these other smaller tracks, Chowchilla, Roseburg, that are starting to, get going, as we mentioned in the last episode. But just overall, the experience of Outlaw Kart racing out here, the competition, and also from what I've heard, midgets drive very similar, like a big go-kart.
Yeah.
And I think that the feel, it seems like it's an easy transition. I've never got to experience it. I'm hoping to experience it soon, which I think with that being said, I want to run the Chili Bowl next year.
We're running Chili Bowl.
We're going to make it happen. But, yeah, it's just crazy how much success these kart guys have, and it wasn't just this year. I feel like every year there's always a stat being posted about, all these guys that came from, the Northern California area, and no matter where you throw them, whatever cars, tracks, they're up front.
I'd have to agree with you, and I think it's a perfect combination. Red Bluff is, the tight bull ring, close quarters action, and I'll give credit where credit's due. Cycland's curb up on the wall, you got to run that perfect to be the fastest. And Chili Bowl, the curb gets so treacherous, you have to run it perfect or you're going to be up on your lid.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more with you. And also the surface that, Chili Bowl had every night, that's something I wanted to touch on. For some reason, I felt like this year, and it wasn't just because of the guys up front, but I felt like it was one of the best products we've seen.
100%.
The last I've only watched it for the last 3 years, probably real closely, and now that it's on Flow, so many people have Flow. Everybody can
Huge
watch.
Can of worms to talk about in a minute.
Yeah. So it makes it really easy. But man, I felt like every night I was on the edge of my seat. From the on-track racing to what was happening also off the track. Like, for example, Monday night, all of a sudden, Moles is upside down. Jerry Coons Jr., who was leading early, he was in the hot pit. Just stuff like that. I feel like there was a lot of just, things where all of a sudden when they cut the cameras, for people that weren't there, you're like, what just happened? And you're trying to figure that out. So I thought the product on track was really good. Saturday, I was a little skeptical.
I was too. Is very hooked up at the beginning.
And it's kind of tough to say. They're really trying to rush through the program because they obviously have 400 cars and they're trying to. What they start with a P main or something or Q? I don't know.
So there's always 2 of each. So I think it was down there's P Q.
It might have been the Q because I think someone flipped and their helmet flew off or something.
Yeah. All I know is there's 2 of each. So 2.
And that's
Ps,
bright and
2
early
Q,
Saturday morning
all the way up. So that's a lot of races in one day on one track.
So they got to rush through and no one's better at it than those guys. They've been doing it for years. And then obviously the program slowed down once they got to the other broadcast, which was then on
TV.
On live television, which, obviously was, as you mentioned, the dirt racing community has definitely spoken.
I'll go ahead and say it. I'm a huge Flow guy. I really want to see it be Flow all year. That's just my opinion. Everyone's entitled to an opinion, but it was definitely a hassle. I'll give you a quick little story. I'm at this crab feed, switches over to Mav, and I go to the Mav Plus app, buy it, and I go to, and it's $100 to watch Chili Bowl.
Yeah.
And I have Dish TV. Dish TV, so I don't get Mav TV there.
Gotcha.
So there's so many ways around it that I actually found out after Chili Bowl for free ways to watch it, but it gets promoted to buy it on the app, go to the app, pay $100 to watch this race because that's how much it means to me. And then the app crashes, doesn't even work. It's failing. So I don't know what that's all about, but big props to Flow Racing for the whole week. Their production's just so quality, and I really like it. And I think, if you're going to stick with it that whole week, look on social media, how many people are just like, what's going on? Why is it switching over? I obviously know why, why. For those people, it's a little frustrating, I feel like, but
and I think it's going to change, honestly. It seems like there's a lot of and that's kind of, I think that's how I would put it, is that's the country we live in. That's what's actually cool is, they're obviously some people are upset, people are speaking their voices, and it sounds like, they're going to try to change it for the better of the event and just, to make Chili Bowl what it deserves to be on Saturday night.
And I don't think this is screw Mav TV because, look back in the history, Mav's
done a lot of great things.
Mav has done a ton for it. even Chili Bowl, before anyone would, it was Matt.
Nothing negative their direction. We're kind of more just speaking in terms as well of just,
evolving the sport.
In kind of what dirt racing in general has already said on social media, like I said, it's no surprise. If you were to get on Facebook or Twitter and you follow people in the sport, you could not get on there Saturday night without seeing, some comments directed, different ways. But I really do think next year it'll be on Flow.
I'd have to agree with you. But no, the race, like you were saying, was, I was worried at the beginning. I thought
it was going to be way too hooked up.
I did too, and I think
I felt like they worked it, and I think they also, the curb, they didn't seem like they worked it enough to where it was going to move up at all. So like my biggest worry was there wasn't going to be enough moisture from halfway to 3/4 of the way up the track towards the wall. Mm-hmm. So eventually it was actually just going to start getting slick around the bottom, but they weren't even going to be able to move up. But I was wrong. The material moved. And, once guys started moving and cleaning off spots, it actually was really good from lap 20.
It was, and it was a great actual, traffic race. There wasn't that many cautions. There was only a few. Speaking of which, Brady Bacon went for a huge ride right in front of the leaders. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Leading Chili Bowl, and you've got this guy that's almost at the top of the top row rowdies in turn 2, and you're like, what just happened there? But, I agree, and I think it was maybe too much of a rework. It would be cool to see it, slicking off a little sooner. Obviously, we don't want rubber. Rubber would be horrible. But do you think it would be appropriate to keep it slicker and have a mandatory halfway break?
I don't know. It's a really hard call. I feel
open to a 5-minute open red, no tire change, but you can adjust.
I feel like Chili Bowl, part of what makes it is there isn't a stop kind of because realistically 55 laps in that building I feel like goes by pretty quick.
It does. It sucks. I'm like, come on, really? I want to keep watching.
Yeah, you're there 100% like if it was 100 laps or something. But I felt like we got what we deserved, really cool, not just because he's a kart kid, but Tanner Thorson. I mean, you talked about Tanner Carrick and how we were just racing with him. I can't say the same for Tanner Thorson, but I could say it just feels like yesterday that I was watching him in the classes above me at Red Bluff in 250s. I can vividly remember the 2010 West Coast Nationals and the 2012, maybe it was West Coast Nationals. Both of them he won. One was a 250, one was an open. But the open one he won. I remember sitting in the grandstands. The leader's wrecked. He's running third, and I think it was his rookie race in the open class. I could be wrong. But anyway, big surprise that he won that year because, like I said, he didn't have much experience. He was just starting to move up. But, man, it doesn't feel like that long ago. And then now all of a sudden, he had already won preliminary nights at the Chili Bowl. But now to bring home a Golden Driller and for the Northern California crew, it's pretty special for, just all of us, looking forward.
I think I'd have to agree with you there. And Tanner Thorson is definitely who I'd consider possibly one of the Kyle Bushes of dirt racing. There's controversy around him. There's no secret about it, and Tanner admits it. He talks in his interview, he gets fired up. And watching on Friday night, I was hoping for my pool he was going to win that over C-Bell, but here comes C-Bell. That hurt to see Thorson, and I could totally see in his interview he was gritting his teeth. He was
looking
pissed
for a little bit more.
He was pissed because he knows he could have done more possibly. I don't know specifically, but that's how much it means to him. And I think it's really cool to see a new driver that isn't Kyle Larson or Christopher Bell or Rico's always one of the contenders there. To see someone new pick it up and it means that much to him, I think it's awesome. Like you said, especially from someone from Red Bluff, our backyard, who grew up racing there.
Yeah, and I think through the next couple of years, I'm not going to say that Christopher and Kyle, they're going to be just as in contention as they always are, but I think as, like a new guy winning like we had this year, it could open the door for, those guys may be rattled. I don't know, but I think no matter what, just everyone having such even equipment, all it takes is for someone to have that really good Saturday night. We could very well continue to see new winners, or we could see Thorson go back-to-back, or we could see, Larson come back and have a stellar year like we absolutely, or a stellar week like we know he's capable of doing. So 2023 is going to be interesting for the Chili Bowl, and like I said, we're going to be there. And my goal, actually, talking in terms of, before I move on, do you have anything else you wanted to add to?
I was just going to mention the Larson slider line.
Oh, yeah,
and
talk
I
about
also
that real quick.
I had one more thing. If you notice, Larson looked like he was struggling all week. That was just my opinion. Obviously, new chassis for him and Paul to figure out. He was fast. Don't get me wrong. He's definitely fast. But how about his slider line? Cheat 75% of the corner and almost destroy who he's sliding up to, but he never hit him.
Yeah,
He
I
never
will
hit.
say.
Who flipped? Was it Grant?
Grant. Yeah, Grant on Saturday. I will say, I thought, like, it was really funny when he started doing that on the Race of Champions. I was like, what's he doing? And then all of a sudden it started working. And I was like, man, only Kyle would be able, run this slider line, which usually you would lose so much ground, and he made it work. And then he started doing it on Saturday. And I think
it worked for like 4 laps.
I think it worked on Saturday, but I just think it's really hard to do, and especially you do got to be careful because I know he's not trying to wear the guy out in front of him, but he's driving as hard as he can. But sometimes you got to be careful because if you run it hard enough and you do end up hitting them wrong, like as much as it could wreck them, it could wreck you. Yeah.
Well, that's what happened. He ran up to second or third, pulled the slider line, hit the curb, big jump to the right.
Yeah.
There. But I thought, that was an interesting little topic there. Might have tried on iRacing next time. Go Chili Bowl.
Yeah.
But my other question was about Chili Bowl. I heard this on the Flow broadcast. Most accomplished driver at the Chili Bowl. Who is the most accomplished driver at the Chili Bowl that has not won a driller for one?
That's a good question.
And I want to put a twist to it. Who is the most accomplished driver at the Chili Bowl out of every single driver, whether or not they've won, a driller or not? I mean, look at the names there.
I feel like it's got to be, I kind of feel like Donnie, right? I don't know. I mean, just because so many Outlaw Championship, it's hard to say.
But it's also like,
there's so many
forms.
Look
at Chase Elliott, who has a NASCAR championship.
Yeah, it all depends on what you weigh more. I mean, you could argue the same for Larson on winning a Cup championship, and
right.
I just think it's hard to go against Donnie. But I feel like there's probably plenty of people I'm missing that I just wouldn't think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, we don't have the full list here, but
I
heard that question and it sparked my thoughts because I was like, that's hard to say because look at all the wins in that building. It's
a lot. Well, even I try not to forget like some of the late model guys that run that I'm not as familiar with, some of their big wins, but they've been doing it for a very, very, very long time. And so, that's just, it's not as fair for me, I guess, to say, but I think Donnie's got to be, one of those at the top. There. One of the questions I had for you, actually, I noted, if you could pick, if you're running, Bennett Gooch is running Chili Bowl next year, what prelim night? Because, if you were to judge off of who ran each prelim this year, which usually is very similar year to year, like Larson.
Mr. Tuesday.
Larson's Tuesday, Rico Wednesday, Bell's Thursday. Grant's Friday, and then Monday's kind of a wild card night. Right. Cannon had won the 2 years, and then this year we saw Carrick. But I feel like Monday's a wild card night, and then I think Friday has potential to be a wild card night, but Grant has still pretty much dominated it for the most part over the past many years. So, I mean, like right off the top of your head, is there a night you're running? Is that Monday, or what are you thinking?
I'd have to think about it. To go with that question, so did you see that drivers had the opportunity to some drivers swap?
Yeah, I did see some swap.
And that was just
they swapped like away from Tuesday or
with the Race of Champions and stuff like that too.
Yeah, that is true.
But to go with that, I think some people were saying, Monday night's very beneficial if it's your very first time because you get hot laps. Everyone gets hot laps in the morning.
Get to hot lap again.
You get a break. You get to hot lap again, and then you get right into your race. So me right now, that's what I would do because all the other nights you get hot laps and you're right into the heat race. Where at least there, if I'm going to get some laps around the Tulsa Expo Center, I want it there and I want it to be fresh in my memory to go on. But with that said, if you got, I mean, this all depends on your team you're with. If you're with someone very experienced that could run a night before you, and then they could go jump and tell you the same, what they did that night. Let's say they run Wednesday, you go out and run Thursday. That's a lot of talent and experience that they can tell you to use in the car. So that's a hard one. I think as of right now, I'm going to have to go with Monday night just because of secondary hot laps.
I can agree. I think the only thing that could be a downside of Monday is, it took rubber in the feature, which was the only night I feel like we saw the track where it went that far to where it obviously started to kill tires.
Well, I was also going to say what would kind of suck is like you get laps around there and then you got to wait all week. Although it'd be cool.
I can agree.
I think, it'd be Monday or Friday for me as of right now. Because if I can run Friday, if I'm deep, I'm gonna be amped up. I'm like, I just ran. We're gonna try the soup. We're gonna make it. Or if finish somewhere good, you put yourself in a D or maybe a C, E main. You're fired up because you ran last night. But if you run Monday, you have better odds. I feel like as of me, I would have my best odds on Monday because I got hot laps. It's fresh on my mind. But going into the final night, Saturday, I feel like it hurt.
Yeah, there's a lot of pros and cons when you really think about it. So how I look at it is I feel like Monday would be, I think my 2 nights are Monday and Wednesday. See, I feel like Monday is a wild card night. I feel like it's not as stacked as maybe some of the others. There's less cars, so if you run not as good, if you don't run great, you can't be as bad as the guys that run Friday. Because Friday there was like 80-something cars, and I think Monday there was only 60-something. So you're already mains ahead. Obviously, you still don't want to run last, but if you don't have things go your way. And then also, like talking about Wednesday, I feel like it's a good middle point. You get to practice, you get to watch 2 prelims, see what happens, then you get to go, and then you're also not terribly far away from Saturday. The 2 nights I would probably stay away from would be Tuesday or Thursday.
I'd agree.
I feel like Thursday was really stacked, and Tuesday wasn't great either. But the only downside I feel like going early in the week is if you don't do good, I feel like the rest of the week would be so hard because you're watching all these guys that are then doing good, and you can take something from it, but then you're waiting for Saturday. Like you said, at least if you do Friday or you even do Thursday, if you don't do as good later in the week, you're right into Saturday, and you still kind of maybe enjoyed the beginning, especially for rookies. I feel like there's a lot of pressure. It's a big stage,
I'd agree with you there. I feel like it depends on your situation, but I feel like if you're going to go into any race at all and it's Chili Bowl, you can't go in with a mindset, if it's your very first race, of expectations high. Like honestly, it's always set low expectations because when you do good, it impresses yourself. You get amped up. You're excited for it, but I feel like you can't get down at Chili Bowl. You just can't.
Even the best, there's so much that can go wrong, but that's interesting to hear your point of view, though, on kind of the nights thing, but definitely stay away from Tuesday and Thursday. I think most guys can agree with that, and that's why you mentioned guys switching. They're switching away from those nights once they realize they were on it because, it's so tough, especially if you're in lesser equipment or lesser experience. Good luck trying to beat some of the top names.
This might be a quick question, but would you rather start on the front of your heat race on your prelim night or like the back last?
Depends. I've seen both be good. I feel like if I'm new and there wasn't any fast guys in the first 2 rows with me, I feel like I'd rather just start on the pole or outside pole, jump out to that early lead. I feel like there's a lot of benefit too for a rookie driver to get out front in something and lay down those laps. Like if I could get out front and lay down some good laps and win my heat race and get that confidence, I think that's huge even compared to going like 8-4 or 8-3. That's still good, but you're not getting that chance to be out front and see that open track. I think there's some real value in any race car on just getting that experience that can carry you just through other situations and you get a chance to see what that's like. So
I think what we'll have to do is later on in the year when it's around Chili Bowl time, getting there, I'm going to ask you some more questions like what are your expectations of me going into that?
Yeah.
Because I think it just depends, what happens this year.
For sure. And obviously, guys, we don't have like already plans or something, but we're putting it out there like my goal next year or this, coming is I want to run Tulsa Shootout. I want to run Outlaw Kart Super Bowl, which is in between the Chili Bowl and Tulsa, and then obviously run the Chili Bowl. So you get to spend, 3-ish weeks out there in the Oklahoma area, and man, just awesome racing the whole time. And I think that's a good goal for us. It's just something we need to do. I had a couple chances and opportunities to possibly make things work. Nothing ended up working out. That happens. It's understandable. As a driver, you're going to have that with anything, not just these big events. But that is the goal, and I'll keep you guys updated throughout the year as hopefully we try to put the right things in place for that to happen. A couple other things in Tulsa news that we wanted to touch on here towards the end of the episode. Kyle Busch running the shootout. We have not got the chance to talk about that, but that was another NASCAR driver getting his hand, in running a big event.
Yeah, it was cool. For the dwarf car guys, he gave a shout out to running a dwarf car, and that's the only experience he had that said it was kind of similar to it. So it's kind of cool that he mentioned that. I know a bunch of guys in the dwarf car world on Facebook were pumped over it. But, it's also cool to see that Kyle is trying to teach his son and give him the best possible tools to be the best racer he can be. I think Brexton's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But you also look at Keelan Harvick, Cash Boyer, all these young racers coming up. But, I think as of right now, who's been racing the most, it's definitely Brexton, and Kyle's been there every step of the way.
And Kyle was really good even in his debut. I know that first heat race, he went 8th to 1st and,
on the
just
top,
ripping the high side. And of course, there's going to be the haters that say, well, who was in his heat, this and that, whatever. Yeah. Still, how he looked compared to even his practice session was impressive by many standards. And then to see him go out there and do that, some of his other classes didn't necessarily go how he wanted. He didn't make any shows. But like I said, it kind of goes back to how we talked about, Chase Elliott and those guys. I feel like I was more surprised that he won that heat race, not that I expect, we didn't expect that. And then the rest of the weekend, that's just how shootout, whether you're a lot of experience or not, a lot of luck has to be on your side and things have to go your way. So I just think it's cool to see him, getting his feet wet. And I know, I'm sure Chili Bowl is next on the list, but I know he probably wants to get more experience. Kyle's the type of guy, even though he knows it's going to be tough, he wants to have a shot at winning. He wants to put himself in good shoes and good spot. And I think he also realizes, how many people are watching. So He wants to, I feel like out of all people, Kyle Busch is the guy that he wants to put the haters in their place if he can.
I'd agree with you there. I love Kyle.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. So obviously, we're two of the biggest Kyle Busch fans you'll meet. We'll always be on his side. So that's some of the news. The last thing to touch on, I mentioned a minute or two ago, the Outlaw Kart Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. What an event that is. And for people that don't know, it takes place this year. I think it was January 7th and 8th. It was the Friday and Saturday before the Chili Bowl, and it was about a week after the Tulsa shootout.
Yep.
And a couple of our Outlaw Kart friends, Brian Hubert was back there racing.
The West Coast represented, and yes, they took home the hardware.
Yeah, Brian Hubert got
the wing win.
The winged win in the
Colby
500
Copeland
Open division.
Got the non-wing win.
Yes,
in the Open division.
And both of them bringing home some cash, and so that's a really neat event, and it's one that I really would like to run because the track looks phenomenal. It's about 2 hours away from Tulsa, from what I hear.
Are you running the non-wing portion?
I don't know. Honestly, I probably would if it's my own car. Maybe you only live once. I kind of say I've kind of talked about how you probably won't catch me in a non-wing Outlaw Kart, but if you're already there, you might as well maybe give it a shot. It just depends. If preferably if I could run a different car in it just to not jeopardize, depending on how I'm doing in my
2 cars.
But
we got to put the non-wing super setup on the one that no one's ever seen before. We're running the right rear at least a foot out.
Yeah, we're doing some crazy stuff, but just wanted to give some props to like you said, the West Coast representing out there at the Outlaw Kart Super Bowl, and I think that's a race that could potentially continue to try to get bigger and bigger, and have more West Coast competitors head out that way for that event. And then you also get to experience Chili Bowl.
One thing I wanted to mention there, what were your thoughts on, I know I don't have the correct number, but how many classes were at that?
It was 17. I commented on
17 classes.
I commented on someone's Facebook post, and not to say anything negative, but yeah, that's not really
that's a lot.
That's not ideal, and it sounded like 2 or 3 of them only had two cars. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, another thing about that, and this is just any event in general, I'm not a huge fan of one-day shows split into 2 days. I feel like it drags out. I like Roseburg this weekend where we're headed. We get to run Saturday and we get to run Sunday, and you have 2 shots at winning. And so I think that's really cool. So I would like to see more events.
I'll be honest, I hate the qualifying and heat race one day.
Yeah.
With no sort of, preliminary night win possibility, or just even the fast and slow dashes doesn't feel.
No, yeah, that makes it even.
It's like
not a fan.
It's like you're. I was always a fan just because you got more laps, but realistically, look at it. You're bringing a cart out there to possibly get wore out in a fast dash before you're even at the main. So
yeah, no, we come to win and we come to race, and I think you got to have preliminary nights. All these races do. I think it would really elevate kart racing. I think there were some races in the past that did that ended up going away, and I want to see it come back. So maybe next year they'll consider that, or at least for the opens, I could see some of the younger classes. I get, it's hard for them to run, maybe 2 A's or 2 nights. I mean, it probably shouldn't be, but I can understand how that could be a little difficult. But at least get the opens as much racing as possible. I feel like they're the premier class, and
it is,
and they, I hate to say it, that's just how it goes. They deserve to race
the
twice.
way she goes.
So that's kind of our Chili Bowl episode here. As we mentioned, Awesome to see the Kart Kids running good. We want to be at Chili Bowl next year. All the footage, it made me so sad and jealous I wasn't even there. But if I go, I want to race. I mean, I want to experience. I think because Chili Bowl, because of all the nights, you can race it and still experience it, obviously, no problem.
So you're telling me I got to figure out a way to get in the infield now?
I think you can. I think it should. Yeah. I actually don't think it's too hard to get, a media pass.
Yeah, I just need to get the media pass, and then I'll spend the rest of the nights up with you in the stands. Yeah. Maybe we'll go to the Top Row Rowdies a night or
two. Do something. We had a lot of friends, hanging out in turn 2. There's plenty of other places to watch from the Expo Center.
Quick question. Would you go and if you're at Chili Bowl for the whole week, would you run your preliminary night and then watch live from maybe a hotel room or a different area the other nights, or would you be in person? Because, the Chili Bowl flu, you don't want that to happen, but at the same time, it might be more relaxing just to watch the broadcast. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I'd probably go every night, I would think.
You got it.
I would think, yeah. I mean, I don't know. You're going to Chili Bowl. To me, like that kind of stuff, and maybe it's not as safe, but the type of person that I'm in, like I don't really think about that stuff as much. Yeah. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's bad.
Not necessarily the Chili Bowl flu, but
I know what you're saying. Just because, there's many reasons why some drivers maybe would go for one night and not go. For example, pit passes or
right. Well, I was saying more like, okay, West Coast Nationals by Sunday, I'm ready to go home.
That is true.
I'm tired. I'm ready to go home and relax. Maybe Chili Bowl, you run your practice, you go run your prelim. Then you get to just hang out at the hotel or whatever it is. Maybe go a couple nights.
Yeah.
You don't go all of them so you can just relax. I
could kind of see that. Or I could see like maybe if you run Monday, you run Monday, get out of the way. And then, those other nights, maybe some nights you're there a little earlier, you're experiencing, and then maybe others, you're not showing up right away. Maybe you miss hot laps, you miss some of the heats, and you're, kind of doing other things. I'm sure that there's plenty to do in the Tulsa area, but
I was just curious.
I definitely think though I'd probably be one of the drivers that want to stick there. I think even though, I'd be there trying to race, like I think the experience of watching, and 100%. Especially when we're doing the pools, even if I race, I'm doing a pool. I'm doing a ton.
All the drivers almost do.
Yeah, a lot of them. I think Bell ran in the top 10,
top 5, I think.
He made probably half as, not half, but if he would have won the pool, he would have made half as what it paid to win the actual race.
Well, one thing I was going to mention too is like when you go there to see someone win a preliminary night like Tanner Carrick, like that's pretty cool. He's never won one before, just the emotion in the building's so awesome to see, especially in person, I feel like.
Yeah, it's such a big race, even though, you're not racing one of the nights. You gotta be there to experience that, and you never want to miss out on what could, potentially happen. So that is going to wrap up episode number 28 here of Off the Track. Bennett, thank you for joining me today. Yeah. Man, we're looking forward to the rest of the year. A lot of big shows, a lot of big races, a lot of things.
A lot of episodes coming out.
Absolutely. So we will be signing off for now. See you guys all in the next one, and remember to tune in every single Wednesday for a new episode of Off the Track.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are watching Off the Track, and it is time to drop the hammer.